I think things get really complicated with these cases when it's a minor trafficking another minor. How do these
Yes.
minors become, and I've heard stories of this happening. I used to be very much involved with an organization called Stop Child Trafficking Now, and I was one of their spokespeople for years. And I would interview people about about their experience. I would interview victims about their experience, and one that always stood out to me was a young girl in Minnesota or somewhere up north, and comes from a middle upper class family, totally normal, but totally, not the picture of what you would expect to become the victim. And she, like what you're explaining, was totally victimized and trafficked for 2 years while living at home in her parents' home with both mom and dad there, not divorced parents, siblings, everything. And she tells the story that that she fell in love with a boy in high school, and he kind of, acted like he was in love with her too, and took her around and held her hand and did all of these things. And then basically he videotaped, him doing things with her, and then showed her the videos and the photographs and said, now you have to do these other things. And he was being, I mean, he was the same age as her, basically. He was being coerced by older people in his family who were forcing him to now get her involved and traffic her. And it was a horrific story. Actually, invited her over, then they showed her the videos and the images. Then they basically gang raped her and forced her because she was worried, because they said, we're going to send this to your dad. And so she was worried that she would see this. And then, of course, they had more ammunition with that video of now multiple people. And, it just kind of reeled out of control. And the only thing that saved her, no one actually saved her. The worst part about the story was no one saved her. The only thing that happened that finally got her out of it is her dad got a job transfer across the country. And
Wow.
she moved. And that was it. That was the
Wow.
only thing that got her out of it. And for 2 years, she would have to sneak out of the house here and there in the middle of the night and be trafficked to people, high, powerful, wealthy people that would pay to sleep with her. And she was 16, 14, 15, 16, 17, something like that. I mean, it's just terrible. So explain to people how other minors get involved in becoming the perpetrator. And do you consider them victims as well?
Yes, this is why, and I mean, and Kim, I mean when I say this. This is why I've respected your voice in this angle, because you're both pragmatic and analytical about this, and you're asking all the right questions. This is why it's so prevalent, because predators will show up at anti-trafficking conferences. They know the law. They read the law to the victims. They tell the victims there's no prosecution. Remember, they understand the power of fear. My sister's case, first and foremost, when Ilonka is trafficked by a record label executive, they threaten her that they're going to kill my mom.
Hmm.
No, we're raised by a single parent. There's no dad in the house. And they kill my mom and hurt my brother, right? Immediately, the victim become a defender,
Hmm.
like the girl you just explained. Don't hurt my dad. It is human psychology, it's human behavioral science. Plus, they understand the power of guilt, shame, and condemnation.
Hmm.
And any victim of human trafficking will tell you, I felt so guilty, so dirty. She's 12,
Yeah.
she's 14. Even if she's 52, it doesn't matter. There's power in guilt, shame, and condemnation. Coercion is real. So there's always a fear component, an exposure component to it, right? Normally, what happens with children is predators see children that have been abused, even if they were not trafficked, single sexual abuse. Okay, father goes into his daughter's room and he's a sicko and he abuses her. That child wears a mark that a predator is trained to see.
Hmm.
So they find these children who had been predisposed to pornography, who are addicted to pornography. So they're desensitized. And now the average age of first porn exposure in America are boys age 8. Okay. So there's a massive class where love and belonging is shattered. The role of a partner in sex. What sex is for. Two men, one woman. She likes it. Can be naked with multiple people. This is what 8 and 10-year-olds now see. Now, the predator looks for those children, whether they've been trafficked or not. And they literally look at that child like in the old days, a pimp would look at what we call bottom girls. Every pimp in the old days had two bottom girls. Well, what's a bottom girl? A recruiter.
Hmm.
Ones who had been abused, who had been victimized, who can be controlled and manipulated, who now has to go recruit. Normally, what happens is an adult will enter the life of a child and will turn that child to become a recruiter
Hmm.
under force, fraud, coercion. We uncovered a ring in Texas of 52 girls being trafficked by a quarterback from 3 different schools. He ran a human trafficking ring. A mayor got involved. A police chief was involved. In covering this up, it was an enterprise where a young boy who had been sexually abused was marked by an adult predator and used as a tool. So now you're asking, is that boy a victim? He was a victim first.
Yeah.
So it becomes so, because no 16-year-old child wakes up and say, I'm going to sell human beings.
Right. Right.
The human psyche doesn't work that way. It's
Hmm.
not how we operate. It is a child that had suffered deep trauma and abuse who's then recognized by a sick adult and is then manipulated. So, what is human trafficking by definition? The new definition was written in 2015. It is the exploitation of persons through the mechanisms of force, fraud, and coercion. Really, let's break it down for Gen Z further. It's the exploitation of vulnerability. A predator looks for a vulnerability. If you look at Maslow's hierarchy of needs, the bottom of the rung is food and shelter. So in Oak Cliff, Dallas, which is the projects, right? They traffic a child in Oak Cliff very differently than they traffic a child in Highland Park, which is one of the wealthiest neighborhoods in the world. The girl in Oak Cliff needs shelter and food. So they'll exploit that vulnerability. He'll become a daddy. He'll become a provider. He'll earn her trust. And then he'll say, if you don't perform sex on me, I'm pulling the provision.
Hmm.
You no longer have it. Highland Park, she doesn't need food and shelter. Her first car was probably a Mercedes at 16. She needs emotional support because she's got love and belonging is her number one desire. Is do anybody see me? Because I blend into everybody's got money, everybody's got access. What makes me special? So there it's love and belonging. It's words of affirmation. It's
Hmm.
I see you, I value you. The girl in the projects doesn't even understand that. She is scrapping for life,
Yeah.
right? So it's really exploited. So yes, these children who become recruiters, they were first victims,
Yeah.
but now they're also a perpetrator. Very difficult for the court to
Yeah.
go, wait a second, what do we do with this?
Well, especially if they don't catch these cases right away, right? I mean, it's
Right.
the other issue is when they age up. Like you said, they turn 18. And then suddenly now you're dealing with adults. And these adults are claiming, well, this started back when I was 14. I mean, I would think that most prostitutes, women who are prostitutes in the country or in the world, probably started as minors. That would be my guess. I just don't know of any
You're
adult
accurate.
woman that goes into prostitution. They have abuse, histories of abuse and other issues that got them to that point. And I would imagine a lot of them will say, "Yeah, I started at this when I was young." And so that I guess then that becomes then that's a tough then what do you do? Now you're dealing with somebody who's 28 years old and they're telling you that they've been doing this since they were 14. And clearly somebody abused them to get them to that point. So I think that's where it gets also extra complicated. I think it also gets really extra complicated when I think it's less complicated. The easiest cases, I would think, are when children are trafficked and you pick them up when they're children, right? So they're young and you find them and get them out of that when they're young and you're going after the person who did that to them. You would think that that would be the most cut and dry, like these children shouldn't be doing this. But once they age out, that becomes a problem. And then the other problem is a lot of these women get recruited when they are of age, right? So
Yes.
now you're dealing with 18, 19, 20, 20, and then people don't have sympathy. They say, well,
Yeah.
that's just you being an
The
idiot.
Andrew Tate situation is
Yeah,
a copybook situation. Couple things, man. Because again, you're nailing it. You would think. I mean, common logic would say, well, surely the children's cases are clear cut and dry.
should be.
There's less prosecutions with cases with minors than adults because there's other complexities. You can't force that child to take the witness stand and force their abuser.
Okay.
So now you're taking third party testimony. It's very difficult. The prosecutors, right, on the civil side, don't have a pathway to extract any finance out of it. So these children hardly ever have good legal support, ever.
Mm,
They get some district attorney that's never tried a trafficking case in his life, that doesn't understand all the mechanisms, so they plead them down because they want to get something to
sure.
stick.
Yeah.
Then there's the element of, well, it's a well upstanding guy in society. He's a name. Surely that guy would not be the guy, right? So it has its own complexities. On the adults, the case you're making of, well, they age out. That's why there's a delineation between having to prove force, fraud, coercion if they're an adult. Now you've got to go prove it, which makes it difficult because if the woman if was trafficked at 16, you can't just magically say, well, you turned 18 today, time to grow up.
Yeah.
All your trauma needs to disappear now. Remember, this is human behavioral science. It's not just that she was trafficked, it's a belief system now on what love is.
Hmm.
How do I receive love? Love is all conditional. It's not love unless I give something up. Actually, he doesn't love me if he doesn't require something of me. Force is embedded. This is why you have the battered woman syndrome that goes back to the abuser, that stands in the court when there's video footage of her head being bounced off a wall, and she defends the accuser. Judge, I upset him. It was me. No, it's not you. No, he's a scumbag that's punching a woman in the face, no matter what you did. So it's so difficult, right? We can talk about human psyche that the courts are not educated enough, which is why we're saying we have to have courts. We've got good laws. Now, a tricky part is the following: is you're saying prostitutes. I have never in 31 years, ever in 31 years, and we can include Bonnie Blue in this conversation. Okay? A
Okay.
woman that says, it's my choice to go sleep with 1,000 men,
Yeah.
right? Go into Bonnie's history. And if you find sexual abuse in her history, it means that brain chemistry is altered, love and belonging is different, how she receives, she's maybe willing to do something now, but it's really a deep rooted mechanism of her desperate need for love and affection and attention.
Hmm.
I have never in 31 years met a woman that has never been sexually abused, right? That had a healthy representation of what a healthy consensual relationship is, that woke up one morning and said, I'm going to sell myself.
Right. Right.
Not met one.
Right.
So they are by far less likely to be believed and understood by society than some guy just saying it was consensual, she wanted it, you
Yeah.
know? And
Yeah.
so it's an uphill battle. Now, the flip side to the coin is also true. We saw a Me Too movement that perhaps started out right and then lost its footing because of conspiracy and of false claims. And there's false claims in every direction. But all that we say points towards a judiciary that has to be more educated.
Hmm.
And we have not educated the judiciary properly. And so let's have specialized courts that become so proficient. The average human trafficking case takes 9 months to adjudicate, okay, to get a verdict. The average felony case outside of sexual exploitation is 9 months.
Hmm.
On every metric, we lose because the courts just don't know
Yeah.
how to. Now, when you give the courts the proper tools, cross designation, federal statute, not growing a new bureaucracy, it's active judges today that you cross designate. We're just saying you're being appointed. We've looked at your body of work and you've gotten it right more than you've gotten it wrong as a judge. You're being appointed and nominated and confirmed as a human trafficking judge for this district. We're going to pour resources into you. We're going to get you proficient. You're going to take 19 months and shrink it down to 5, 6, 7 months. You're going to see 100 cases a year versus one every 5 years.
Hmm.
We're going to support you with the right NGOs, the right mechanisms. Our verdicts will become more accurate.
Yeah.
The proof is in the pudding in business courts. It
Hmm.
will happen.
Hey guys, thank you for watching this clip from the full Kim Iverson Show, which you could check out Monday through Friday, 5 p.m. Eastern at KimIversonShow.com. See you there.